Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April the 7th, 2022 work session for the town of North Beach. I am Council Member Lawton. I will be, I suppose, chairing the meeting this evening. Mayor Benton is absent, and he sends his regrets that he cannot make it this evening. So okay, get closer. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to ask Council Member Dotson to do the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands,
one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council Member. I guess we're gonna open for public comments at this time.
Hi, my name is Nadia. I'm just joining because I was interested. And I'm also on the Burnt Oaks HOA.
Welcome, Nadia. Is there anyone else? Okay.
Again, like if anything comes up in chat, we'll just address it.
Okay, we'll move on with the agenda. If anything comes up in the chat, we'll just address it as we go. Business items is the next thing on the agenda, and the first business item is First Friday event. Is there any discussion on that?
Event. Sorry. At this time, it starts in May through October, the first Friday. We do have some procedures in place for vendors, the alcohol vendors. We're going to have an ID checkpoint this year. The vendors will not be allowed to sell any beverages to a patron unless they have a wristband on. Each patron will have to come up and purchase their own. Our layout, we're still working on the layout. The classic cars are a little bit of a sticking point if they're just going to be in front of the Sunrise Garden, or we'll move them down to Second Street. So we're still working on layout. The food, wine, and beer are between 3rd and 5th, and the knickknacks, trinkets, pop-up shops will be between 5th and 7th. At this time, the vendors are slowly coming in. I have 14 vendors, the pop-up knickknacky shops for the first Friday, 3 food vendors, 3 beer and 2 wine. So it's slowly trickling in. I don't foresee it being a huge, like our past market, Friday market, where we were overrun with vendors and inundated. Hasn't geared up to be quite that yet.
So I'm just curious because I've been to a few First Fridays myself. I think I became into my understanding when I went to some in Baltimore back in 2018 or something like that. And what they did is they offered local restaurant owners or offered coupons or deals to visitors. Are we doing anything like that, or?
We hope to. I've reached out to the businesses by email and asked them I gave them some ideas, specials for the night. If it's a bar or restaurant, they have a First Friday's drink or dessert. The stores, different incentives. I've heard back from a few of the businesses, but not all. So I'll follow up and we'll hopefully get some participation from them. We want them to be involved and, for the people on the streets to get into the doors of the businesses.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
Yeah, I got a comment. I talked to the mayor about this. We've talked twice about this. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not exactly a fan of doing this. I think it's gonna turn into something similar to what we had with Friday farmer's market. I've seen this paper. He gave me this paper here. I see this. I challenged them on some questions on here, and it's just some problems. And I think you said you got what, 3 food vendors?
Yes.
How many vendors other than food vendors?
The beer vendors are 4 and the wine are 2. And for the alcohol vendors, they're not all signed up for each Friday. I have about 14, the trinket vendors. I don't have another way to put that.
14? Because I understand the layout is from 2nd Street to 7th Street. That's quite a stretch.
We talked about 2nd to 3rd for the classic car shows because I assume all of you know that the 5th Street may shut down in May between Bay and Chesapeake. And that's where we originally had planned to put the cars at. So we didn't have to use 2nd to 3rd for the car portion of the night. Just to give you a little background, on Bay Avenue between 3rd and 5th Street, there's 49 vendor spaces, and between 5th and 7th, there's 37 vendor spaces. So we're well below at this point base for vendors.
But I think I heard you anticipate it to grow over time, correct?
There's always that possibility. And I
Well-
can't say one way or
If
another
we-
for the
if we
future.
With the numbers of vendors that Stacy just mentioned, and with the cars, if we don't have a large turnout in the vendors, it can be consolidated
Consolidate.
down more from 3rd to 7th.
Well, as I told him whenever we talked the last time, is that if you're not gonna have enough vendors, I think you want your endpoint to be 7th Street, so you want to start from there and back up. But I just don't want this turning into Bayfest. And right now, I am opposed to it, and I probably will continue to be opposed to it unless I see it turn out to be something otherwise. So I don't have a vote on this. He made a unilateral decision, so it is what it is, but we'll see how it goes. I hope it works out. So that's it.
If no one else has any comments, I just want to also mention to the mayor about this yesterday. And because I know that there is some discussion with people in the town that they actually desire for this to be every Friday night instead of just the first Friday. So we talked through some of the logistics of it, and then we also talked through some of the disadvantages of it. But the main thing that reason that we really have to stick with first Friday and not really consider anymore at this time is that what you mentioned, that 5th Street will be shut down. We have construction coming in of the new library that's being put in. And so I think that's something that people are not aware of, all the different things that are happening in the town. So as we restart this, there are some things we have to work through. Parking is always something that we talk about in this town. So we're going to have to monitor that very closely, how that implements back up. And if it's something we really want to do or something we really want to expand. So it was a good discussion. Like Councilmember Dotson, I was actually surprised that we were doing First Friday. I heard about it, I don't know, within the last month or two. So it would have been nicer if we had a little bit more heads up on the planning so we could have had discussion about input. But for right now, this is where we're going, and horses out of the gate, as they would say, and so we really can't pull back on it. So if there's no more discussion, we'll move to the second item, which is an update on the flood action plan RFP, and I suppose the decisions, and I think Donnie is going to give a presentation on that.
Yes, good evening, everybody. What I'd like to do tonight is just, the Department of Public Works, along with their Stormwater Committee, would like to recommend, introduced that we would like to recommend Bayland Consultant and Designers of Hanover, Maryland, to award the contract for the compound flood action plan to that company. And just for a little bit of background on it, as you all know, we put out a RFP for a firm to come in and do a comprehensive compound flood plan for the whole town. We've been working on this for quite some time now. We received a grant from DNR of $80,000. Put it out to bid. We had a pre-bid meeting. We had like 11 vendors probably show up, 11 consultant firms. Out of those 11 consultant firms, we had actually 3 that placed bids for the project. The 3 bids were one from Bayland. Bayland Consulting Company was $68,500. They were the low bid. We had another bid from Strawn Environmental, and they were at $70,000. And we had another bid from Coastal Resources of $91,700. We required the firms to put background references in their bid, and we have called 3 references for Bayland, and they got excellent reviews from every place we called. One of them was Sherwood Forest in Annapolis was one place. Talbot County, they did some work for Talbot County over there, and they got excellent reviews from them. And they did a lot of stormwater stuff for Anne Arundel County, Charles County, came up with stormwater plans and everything like that. And everybody we talked to, we actually did the project up here in North Beach Park, where they added on to the jetties up there in North Beach Park. They were the consulting firm that did that project. So we reached out, we actually talked to the owners association and the guy for that, and they also gave excellent references. So I'd like to introduce it tonight. If anybody has any questions, please ask. And then we'd like to put it on the agenda to approve awarding the contract to Bayland Consultants at the council meeting next week. And also, one other thing I'd like to mention, like I said, they came in under the $80,000 bid. We had another part of that contract was a mapping phase in the RFP, but we contracted with Eastern Shore Co-op right over in Salisbury. It's for Salisbury College, because they give us a lot better deal than putting it in the contract. We felt we got that done for I think it was $5,800, and they're going to provide the maps, sea level rise maps, to this consulting firm, so they can have the maps from 2030, 2050, and 2100. So it'll show you sea level rise, what's expected to be at 2030, 2050, and 2100. And it gives you worst case scenario, 3 scenarios. But that firm does extensive mapping. They're a co-op, and they're students and all working for Salisbury. So DNR suggested we try to give them a call and get the mapping done through them for a lot better price than the consulting firm could do it. So that part is already started. Like I say, that was a small amount. That was $5,600. And then the 68 would be in addition to that. So it's still under the 80,000 that we received for grant wise from DNR.
I'd just like to add that I attended the stormwater meeting where the team actually went through every single contract, and I was very impressed with how they looked at each one of the contracts and how they came up with determined which bid was the best. So that was a really excellent job, Donnie. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, and I'll thank the committee members for you, because they did do an excellent job, and they continue to help me out immensely on every phase. So looking forward to getting that awarded and getting started.
So Stacy, what do we have to do to? There are any other discussion from council member?
I think we're good.
Okay, all right, since we're good, then, okay, next week. All right, so our third and final item on the business item is 23 budget discussion, the general fund. So, Ms. Hunt, what do we have here?
Well, welcome. You know, if you don't know me by now, you will in the next few weeks. And this is my favorite time of year. So
Not
I
Christmas?
hope to make this enjoyable for everyone. We handle the budget. We do a section at a time. This first section is only dedicated to the general fund. As you look online, you'll see the schedule for the rest of the work sessions to address water, sewer, capital projects, and ARP monies. I don't know how far along we'll be with the ARP money at that time as far as the plan development, but we have time. We have until 2026 to spend those funds. So let's start with the tax. We're proposing in this year's budget, the 2023, to go with the constant yield tax. We normally do go with the constant yield tax anyway, and I put a description on what the constant yield is. And basically, the state assessment will send down some numbers to us with proposed assessment values that they have derived for all the properties in town. And based off of that, they'll give us a constant yield. The purpose of a constant yield is it reduces the tax rate used, but allows you to maintain the same revenue that you had at the prior year tax rate. That's the purpose. But this year, we're looking at, and we'll get into this further as we get into the work session, a possible further reduction beyond the constant yield. And we set that up similar to a 3-year phase like we did with other plans, like the water conservation plans, things like that. And what we're proposing is in the next 3 years, with market values the way they are, we can seriously reduce the rate for the town of North Beach town taxes. And I think that'll have a large impact on residents as far as money in their pockets. And everybody right now is looking for ways to save, town included. So with that said, the only other part on that discussion is I'm going to tell you what the rates are. We're currently at 0.6034, 60 cents 34 rounded off. And then the rate is, the constant yield is 5.895. And I've provided a scale of what that would look like to someone if we did 58 cents or if we did 58.95 or 57 cents. I kind of said that backwards. But I provide you with 3 examples if your house value is at 350,000, where most in town are over 350,000 now. 450 and then 550. What that will mean to the resident as far as savings in their pocket if we reduce the tax rate. But we'll get into that a little more detail as we go through the budgets and prepare for that. But I wanted to say that out loud. And the only other thing I need to tell you, and I actually am always amazed how lucky we are. When I say lucky, we have been extremely lucky. When the crash happened in 2008, we had already been reassessed. So our values were locked in for a 3-year before, which really protected the town financially. We are being reassessed currently. With the values as they are now with the housing market, we're going to be protected as we reduce the rate down. So you'll be able to achieve it more than you would have done in the past because of the values. So I'm excited about that. That's my excitement. Anyway, I don't want to digress. I'm just going to, Councilman Lawton, I'm just going to run through some of the notes. And if you have questions, I ask that you stop me and I'll answer them for you, okay? Make this as smooth as possible. The only other positive, well, there's a lot of positives, but the most important to residents of the town of North Beach is that we propose that your trash rate, which is $414, will not go up in FY '23. We will maintain the $414 a year annually for all your trash services. So that's another positive move. That with the reduction in tax rate, I mean, those are significant changes. And we propose that the impact on that would be maybe a slight reduction in how we do community cleanup. And that's a discussion for another time. Community cleanups will happen. It's just how we handle them. So we can do it and pinch our belts and do the services at the same time. Okay. So as you've seen through my notes, local income tax, another item number 4 on your notes. And it's listed, each one of your items are listed. That has gone up a little bit over the last few years. So I proposed a slight increase. And again, these are conservative numbers. I don't want to exceed. I'd rather have less expenses and more revenue than I would more expenses than revenue. So that's how we propose. And then if you have any questions on page 1, I ask that you let me know. I don't think that you want me to read this whole thing because I would be hoarse by the time we finish. But everyone has copies of this on the website and you can follow along as you'd like. Rental license, cell tower revenue, all those items are there. The next significant item is gaming revenue. Gaming revenue is the electronic machines that you see at Rod and Reel and Abner's, those type of things, and Traders. That revenue has increased significantly. So I took a new look at it and it's time to make an adjustment to that. So I increased that revenue amount. And again, that's a conservative estimate based on actuals. And in your packet of notes for the public and for the council, you'll see what those revenues were and how they averaged out and what numbers we are using. Hotel tax revenue, that has seen some increases. And for anyone who doesn't know or you're not educated about the hotel tax, that's a tax that is assessed by Calvert County for every VRBO, rental, anything that you're not renting long-term. And what they consider long-term is anything less than 4 months. That's a transient rental. And that's how they refer to it, not how I refer to it. I call that a cash cow because we are in the midst of a VRBO rejuvenation. We've got so many coming and they're so popular. It has really been a blessing to the town of North Beach, but I don't want to go off down that rabbit hole. What else can I tell you about this budget? And there's some information about that in the notes so that you know where to get your explanation from. Then beach fees. Anyone have a chance to look at the beach fees? I was impressed by the beach fees. Last year, we placed a conservative number on them. We met all the requirements that were laid out at the beginning of last year. We had concerns with the COVID and how we were going to handle that, but it has been a pleasant surprise and the waterfront has paid for itself and it will anticipate that it'll pay for itself again next year. And with a weather-driven revenue, that's difficult to say because I believe it was was it Memorial Day or Labor Day that was cold? And we didn't have any Memorial Day, and that is our biggest days of the season. And our season runs, it overlaps 2 fiscal years. But that was impactful to our revenue, but we still made out, and that's a wonderful surprise. So the details are in here about the revenue and the breakdown. Okay. And if the public is listening, which I hope you are, the out-of-county residents we collected $378,000 in out-of-county resident revenue for the beach services. For Calvert County resident, that's anyone outside the town of North Beach but still lives in Calvert County. It's $15,000 for the season. And then rentals, and when I say rentals, I'm referring to umbrellas, chairs, inner tubes. You would not believe the money that they pay for rentals for inner tubes. It's magnificent. It's hard to believe sometimes, but that's $58,000 for just our 5-month season. Fishing, and those are minor fees, fishing is $12,000. So overall, the revenue for the waterfront during the 2021 season, which ran from May 28th to, I think it was September 5th, right after Labor Day, was $466,000. So more than enough to pay for expenses for the waterfront. Some of the items that you'll see have increased we're going to move on to the expense side. We've done most of the revenue already. The expense side, one of the items is the planning and zoning comp plan update. That'll require a consultant, which may be significant. And that's a 5-year plan, correct, Stacy? And 10-year plan. So money well used. There's a proposal in the budget for all permanent employees to receive a COLA between 2 or 3%. The actual number hasn't been determined yet. And that item is spread across all full-time employees.
Based on the state.
No, the state's higher. Stacy, you gave me the state. Plus they got bonuses. Yeah, and then,
Do you all get bonus?
no,
Have you all had a pay raise? I call actual. pay
last
raise.
year, it was, wait a minute,
Oh, no.
COLA, only COLA, no pay raise.
I'm talking an actual pay raise.
No,
When was the last time?
it's hard to say. We'd have to pull,
That long?
2007.
1,000 what?
I'm just kidding. 2007 when I started.
it's been over 4 years or so, at least. Okay, so that's what's in there, and I can give you the breakdown. Then the town with virtual working and remote working, the town has made severe strides in going web-based for its software and its uses. And Paul's been very helpful, and so has Mayor and Mickey. Everyone has joined in and has just embraced the use of the software. So I'm real excited about that. But with that, with technology, there's more expenses. And I gave you a detail of that in the budget. So you have that. I think it's over 52, but that's everything. That's every software package. That's Comcast, that's Verizon, that's all those units that we use. It's in the detail. We'll be going to a new accounting program. We already started the one for the sewer and water, but I'll talk about that with sewer and water. But we will be going to Microsoft Dynamics 365, which is also a web-based program, and getting away from our current system, which is a server-based program. Am I saying that right, Paul? Which should help as far as, cybersecurity. Anyway, those things are in there. I've given you on a separate email, I provided the council with all their department head requests. And then all of them are incorporated. Okay, we have mutt mitts. I'm not going to go into specifics, but mutt mitts petroleum-based product. Imagine gas has gone up, mutt mitts go up. And I think we had a count one time of what the number of mutt mitts are. But give it to it. And it's mind-boggling how many mutt mitts there are. A lot of them. Yes, and it beats the alternative.
I'm all for the mutt mitts, but my environmental nerve says we should be getting rid of one, which I know are more
It's like
expensive.
$20,000.
You say that till you put your hand in to pick it up and it already started to
Melt.
degrade.
Yeah. Or you have to carry it around a few blocks with you because there's not a trash can where you were.
I've been thinking of Dolphin in this town for 10
Yeah.
years. That's not my own. I get it with the mutt mitts.
But most of the items in here are items that you've already seen. There's nothing spectacular or out of the ordinary. The only other highlights, Public Works has a need for some new equipment, which is well justified. We have the trash contract that was locked in for a 3-year period. This is the last year of the 3 years. So the mayor's intention is to go out to bid next year, which would be interesting.
For the new truck for Public Works, we're gonna keep the old one, we're gonna try and auction it off, or
We're actually, I'm gonna get with Stacy. When I got the price for that, I was shocked, as you all know, the vehicles have skyrocketed, probably double. The last truck we bought in 2019 was around that 37,000 for a utility body truck. Now they're 63,000. But what I was thinking for Public Works is to get something more fuel efficient, like a smaller truck that the guys can check the pump stations, run errands, ride around, and instead of using we have to get 250s most of the time because we're gonna pull the jetter.
yeah.
Do the snow plow and do whatever. So
Mhm.
that's why normally it's just easier to get a 250, F-250 or something that size, 3/4 ton. But now with fuel and the price of trucks, we have enough, and we will probably sell one if we do get a new one. But when I got that price, that's in the budget, but I'm looking at a smaller, more versatile, like something the guys can go check the pump station, ride around, save some gas,
Mhm.
to be honest, and then park the 250s and try to save them for, future years, keep them up. The problem we have here almost is we live so close to the bay and the salt water and pushing snow that the trucks.
Oh, they rust out.
They don't
Yeah.
have many miles, but they just rust out and fall apart, unfortunately.
And that's,
But we put a lot of money. Only reason I really we put about what, $7,000 into one of the 2011 trucks. So we're looking at, but now we're gonna probably evaluate that and see if it's worth keeping, or, now that we put that much, maybe just keep that too. But we will put, Stacy puts on municipal bid, which is
yeah, we did that for a lot of,
yeah, we get pretty good money. So we'll probably sell one of the trucks. We have, depending on what we get, we're not sure which one yet.
and that cost was from the getting on the state bid too, like when the state,
The-
okay.
That's for you.
Well, yeah, so yeah, normally we get a decent deal.
I talked to Apple Ford the other day, before we got the price for this. And since the truck, you can't get them now, they don't even have that program right now.
Oh, wow, okay.
I wanted to get Stacy, we're gonna check and verify, see what's going on, because they don't, instead of getting a $15,000 discount, they only give a $3,500 government discount. But you can't get the trucks here now, you can't even get them, so they don't have. Right, and that's another option. We might find low mileage, something, smaller, like I said, right off municipal bid. But instead,
Okay.
take Joanne's. Good worry from her there, but.
No, it's all good. I love it. Okay, the other highlight to the general fund budget is the debt service. And it's not in the general fund, but we paid off one debt for the sewer fund. So that's going to be the highlight of the sewer and water when we get into that discussion. And then those are the notes. If you have questions, please let me know. The only other item, I just want to make the council aware, because, the more educated you are about what we did, the less we have to do when we meet. At the last page, page 14 of the budget, you'll see all the way on the far right, There's a contingency reserve. Right now, it's at $67,000 on page 14. I'm just gonna make you aware, the mayor will be discussing something with you in the next few weeks that has come to our attention.
Say that again.
Page 14, there is a contingency reserve in yellow on the right-hand side for the FY '23 budget. I'm letting you know that this will be discussed as we get further along in budget. Something has come up and we want to make you aware of it, but give you that information and provide you with it as we move through this process. Okay?
Is there an upgrade to the security cameras around town in here?
That's in the capital.
That's in the Capitol? Okay. I was trying to look for it, so,
Yeah, it's in capital.
okay.
Two things, Joanne,
Uh-huh. Yes,
6 and 26. Covered health.
oh, you know why? I get the 6. Yes. That's the, we pay Mr. Russo for a lease over here. And then this is the offsetting revenue that comes in from, so it's in 2 places because we have the expense, but we also get the revenue back through the hospital center over here. He's helped pay for this amount. So it does look like a duplicate. What was the other number you said?
Library gonna break ground here soon. I remember all stipend from the state
MTA?
parking lot, right?
Used to.
Oh, so they,
It's
they've already
gone. It's
stopped
been
that.
dissolved. But you're right, they are exactly the same, but that's what they are. One's a revenue, one's an expense.
Notice I haven't sat down and looked through the entire thing yet, but in addition to page 14 and that additional revenue, what is new?
What is new?
Because if I remember, because I think last time you kind of highlighted some things, but
I did the,
it's harder to figure out.
the
but-
I'm sorry, the Friday
Okay.
nights is new.
Where's that one listed at?
I'm coming to it.
Okay, thanks.
Like one thing that Public Works put in, because I know you were asking about salaries and raises, I did put money in there because we had turnover for health reasons and other stuff and, retirement, but we did have Seth, I don't know if you met Seth, the younger guy was working, he left. Found a job making more money, so discuss with the mayor and maybe checking around. Look at other areas, see what they're paying for our guys to try to keep some guys, because we put a lot of money in training, clothes and everything else, and then, they're finding better jobs just with the way the marketplace is. And it's hard to find help, so people are offering more money and they're coming here, working a little bit, jumping, so we did put money in for Public Works to try to make sure they're getting. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The, page 29 is, there's 2 new items towards the middle of the page. National Night Out, you see, all right, under the 4th of July expense.
Still page 29.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I was so excited. Page 9. In the middle of the column on the left. Under 4th of July, National Night Out. That's been moved to the fire department. They're gonna help with that, and that's a $2,000 expense. Then the first Friday night event is there. That's my papers line up, right? 2,100. And the comp plan's new. Comp plan's new, and then there's a item for towing under code enforcement. It's for vehicles that are in violation of either expired tags, flat tires, abandoned, inoperable. But Rick is working with a tow company to get those items pulled out. And we do hope to recoup some of the expenses related to that because he will be, we have the ability to tag it through the court and through his renewals, through your tags and your driver's license. Whoever owns that vehicle, it's more towards the tag and registration because you never know who parked it there. But some of it, and I wouldn't say all of that money will be recouped, but some can, and there's no real number for me to give you an estimate on what that could be until we go through it. And then the only other highlight that I could think of top of my head that would be important to you is the overhead tree program. We increased that in Donnie's side, pretty sure. And also the streets, we also did street maintenance. We increased that also. And again, those are just minor repairs. That is not the capital where we have major repairs. Yeah,
House has already passed it. We don't know if the Senate is gonna pass it, but estimates, I will. North Beach, the estimate for, I'll just read off the percentage. So this fiscal year coming up, increase, following year 2.4, following 2.7, following 3. Overall, this is North Beach on track this July 1st, 131,815 and 20. The following 197, 722. Email this to you all right now, so.
that'd be perfect. That'd be perfect. And then Donnie can give you his capital side breakdown, which ones we're talking about, right?
Yep.
Which roads? And that is your general fund budget in a nutshell. And if you have any questions for me, again, always feel free to send me an email. Or if you need information, I'll do my best to get it to you as quick as I can. And then we have our next session for everyone is April 21st, correct? What's our next?
Yeah, on the schedule, it has April 21st, budget, water, sewer, and EDC fund.
Yes, so for you guys and for the public, that's pretty major, and I think that you'll be pleased by what you see when we get through that budget. Councilwoman Lawton?
Any other questions, anybody? Anybody out in Zoom land have any questions? Ken?
No, I have none.
Okay, thank you. Well, with that, do we have to do a motion to adjourn? Thank you, everybody. It was a really good meeting. Thank you, Joanne,
Oh, you're
as
welcome.
always.
Looking forward to the next one.
Move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.
There.
My voice warm ups, I have to confess. La, 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 la.
Stop recording, Dawn. All right.
I'm sending those estimates.
Yeah, move it down to at the bottom and.
Appreciate that.
Oh, are these working whenever they're green, just so we know?
Yes.
So it's on.
But you've got to be pretty close to it.
Okay. That's,
Yeah.
I didn't know whether you had to hold it still or get, that's what